Hi, everyone. It's good to see you. And I am trying to find my music. I've got to have my good luck music. There we go. Better late than never. I'm curious, does anybody hear a feedback loop? I'm hearing things, which doesn't necessarily mean it's technology. It could be my ghost meter. Woo. I'll keep it on just in case.
Are there ghosts in the house today? We got ghosts.
Yeah, sometimes there are. They come and go. So how is everybody? Thank you so much for coming in. Cynthia, Janine. Cynthia's laughing at my jokes. I like that. Laughing in text. Sharon, thanks so much for being here, keeping the trolls away. And Luisa, Bora Bora, thank you so much. So does everybody have their... Oh, Coach Ellen, hi. Does everybody have their chart in their hands or somewhere? We're going to talk big things tonight because, we've got another, we have another, what do you call it? Eclipse coming.
We have a big one coming, yeah.
So last week we had an eclipse. Hey, Denise, welcome. So did anybody was there an awakening with this group from the last eclipse? I got to tell you, I feel better. I really do feel better. And I had some I was able to manifest mad fast and sleep better and everything else. You would think I wouldn't do that because it was so energizing. Cynthia says, you bet I'm ready. Whoop, whoop. Good to see you. Hello, Cynthia. Thanks for coming, Julie. Yeah. So everybody's ready. Great. So without further ado, and tell me if there's any epiphanies happening or manifestation tricks. So I am going to leave it up to Lalit. Thank you, Lalit.
Hey. Hi, everybody. I hope you had a wonderful experience at the lunar eclipse. And I hope that you set your intentions and woke up that morning thinking with some of your problems solved. I've been worried about my website for about a year. And that morning when I woke up, I suddenly had a realization how I was going to fix things. It was wonderful. So there is a bigger eclipse coming. This next one is going to be like 100-fold what we just went through. So it's a big one, and we're going to talk about it next week also. But today we're not going to get too technical. We're going to talk about things that pertain to everyone and how you can think about it in your own chart. So we're going to talk about several basic things. We're going to start by talking about Aries. Why? Well, we just had the vernal equinox, 0 degrees of Aries. We're going to talk about Aries in general and how it pertains to everyone, especially because this big eclipse is happening in Aries. We've got 2 major conjunctions at the same time of the eclipse. So today we're going to focus on those because we're already feeling them. One is a conjunction of Mars, the ruler of Aries, and Saturn. And the other conjunction that's happening is Jupiter and Uranus. And yes, Cynthia, we're going to talk about yours. You've got that in your natal chart, and we're going to show how that Jupiter and Uranus thing is going to be a double down for her, and how it's going to affect everybody, because everybody on this planet is going to be feeling those 2 things. And then there's one fabulous thing after the eclipse. We're going to start feeling that beautiful Jupiter-Uranus with a trine, grand trine in Earth with the moon, and with Ceres. That's going to be perfect for manifestation and abundance, and all of your working on all of those things. So in our future segment, we're going to talk about that beautiful thing, what's happening after the solar eclipse, so we still have time, and we're going to talk about, we're going to have a whole segment about manifesting, because it's going to be a ideal situation for you to manifest your dreams and your wishes. And we're going to talk about some techniques of how to make it practical for you and how to get some really great results and happy outcomes in your life. So that's that's a teaser for future segments. So stay tuned for that one. So let's get started talking about Aries. You know that we just had the spring equinox, the vernal equinox, and when that day occurs, the sun is in 0 degrees of Aries, and that is where the zodiac begins. So everyone has experienced our coming into the sign of Aries. Now, Aries as a principle is a principle of action. The quality is initiative, and the positive expression is vitality, and the negative expression might be considered of impulsiveness. Now, impulsiveness. Now, I sent you all a little thing about the houses, and I marked Aries in red here. So astrology is a language, and you learn to manipulate the different things and blend things together. And that's what we're going to just see how that works today when we're speaking of Aries. So if you see I marked it in red, it's the first house. The planet that rules it is Mars. And you know Mars is an easy planet to imagine, because maybe a negative expression might be the gladiator with his sword, but it's aggressive growth. Anyway, that is the nature of Mars. And the sign Aries is kind of a glyph, is like the ram's horn, but it's also like a seed sprouting, and it's also like taking a fork in the road. So those are all things that all go together, because the first house, Mars, and Aries are all different aspects of the same principle. So it blends together, house, planet, and zodiac. So what's happening in the eclipse is we're going to have Mars conjunct the planet Saturn. Saturn is not an energy that is similar to Mars at all. It's kind of the opposite, because Mars is aggressive outburst of energy, and Saturn is the opposite. It's constricting. So think of Saturn as the principle of constricting your energy. And it's the principle of Capricorn is in fact crystallization. So it is initiating, it's a cardinal sign, and it's an earth sign, but it's beginning a new crystallization of something. And it has the quality of responsibility. The positive expression is orderliness, and the negative expression is like rigidity. And it does have to do with structures. So let's look back at our little chart for a second that blends things together. Capricorn is up at the top. It's silver. It is also an initiator, but it is in the house of your reputation and your job, because it is about responsibility in building structure. So it's your career and how you present yourself to the world, your reputation. So what is going to happen when we get Mars blending with Saturn? Well, it's a big conflict of energy. It's something like the genie in the bottle, because you have this big outburst of energy and something trying to constrain it and restrict it and channel it. And it's a fight. So here's a picture of the eclipse. Let's see if I get the right picture here, number 4. This should be the eclipse, yeah. At the red circle is Saturn and Mars together. That is a big conjunction, and it's happening. Mars is 13 degrees of Pisces. Saturn is 14 degrees of Pisces. This is at the moment of the eclipse. That's very tight conjunction. So it's a tug of war. It's the push me, pull you. Do you remember that old figure in the Dr. Dolittle movie where the animal had a head, the llama head on one end and going to the opposite, on the butt end, it had another head going the other direction. It was a push me, pull you. It's sort of that. So it's a struggle, and it's in Pisces. What does Pisces have to do with? Well, in practical things, it could have to do with, if you're worried about, anybody here worried about imprisonment, or anyone you can think of that might be worried about that. That's one physical manifestation in the 12th house of Pisces. Things that regard imprisonment, or and it can be also victimization. A person who's playing the victim, or involved with drugs or imprisonment. Those are the negative aspects of Pisces and the 12th house. Those are the negative manifestations. For those other people who are more highly evolved and working on their higher aspects of the same energy, it's a very strong indication of your spiritual growth, and it involves being able to contact beyond the veil in a concrete way with proof of manifestation. Let's say you have signs and symbols, and you're getting a discipline together in your spiritual life, so you're able to do things that you couldn't do before. And it's so for those of you who are following the spiritual path, and I think if you're watching a channel called Inspire and Align and talking about astrology, those are things you're interested in. So that's a really good time for you to have open new disciplines and new structures that will allow you to spread out. And it's sort of, I was talking to some people about the heart-centered, let's say the field. So the field of, let's say, Einstein's unified field theory, that all is one and one is all. And each of us has the seed of the whole universe inside of us. Jesus said that the kingdom of God is within you. But the opposite is also true. Each of us is necessary to all that is, because if all that is didn't have you individual, then it wouldn't be all that is anymore. So you are a necessary ingredient, a necessary component in all that is. That's just as important as the fact that all that is within you. So it's the realization of that oneness and the ability to contact that spirit. And one thing I wanted to tell everyone as an image to help you keep the faith in this difficult time is that there's scientific proof that the heart, your human heart, when it beats, with every heartbeat, sends out an electromagnetic pulse that can be measured by scientists. And this electromagnetic pulse, like every electromagnetic signal, travels at the speed of light. So each person on the earth sends out this pulse of energy, and every person, every entity has this pulse that is sent out and is perceived by every other person at some inner level. So this is where your intuition and knowing about other people, you can contact other people through this heart energy. So one thing to do in this period of awakening is to do meditations on the heart center and this feeling of your pulsating energy going out. And when you expand that out to the universe, that allows you to contact other energies. If you're doing, say, mediumship or something like that, you follow that energy out and send it out at the speed of light, and allows you to do mediumship and grow your intuition. And one other way to be in contact with the heart energy is gratitude. So always when things are hard and you're really struggling, you want to grow your gratitude and your love. When you have something, I mentioned this a lot. I just love my kitties, and I get my kitties and I just feel it. Brenda's love. And that's just such an easy thing for me. So you find a thing that is easy for you that helps you feel love and gratitude when you're having in the dumps a little bit. And that'll boost your heart signal and once again allow you to be in contact with all that is. So the one field is going. Okay, so this thing with Mars and Saturn is kind of like that. It's in Pisces, and you have to have some discipline and structure, and you have to have that tremendous heart energy going out. So that's one way of looking at Mars and Saturn together. And this little chart of the astrological references helps you put things together. So you're thinking Mars in the red one, and Saturn, the strength and structure. You're putting these two energies together, which is rough because they're opposite, they're going in opposite directions. So those two things are difficult, and we're already feeling that. And it's in Pisces, where those of us who are sensitive or empathic are feeling it a lot. So this last eclipse was in 5 degrees of Aries. And I want to show a chart of a lady that I just saw her chart for the first time today, but it's a good example because she has Aries rising. So she has that natural Aries on the ascendant. And this is Denise, but we have more than one Denise. This is Denise from Oceanside. And her ascendant is 10 degrees of Aries. And I want to use this as an example so everyone can see how to do this in your own chart. The last eclipse was in 5 degrees. So that happened over here for her because in this area, the 12th house, because 5 degrees is in this place. 10 is on the ascendant, but the next eclipse is also in Aries, and it's going to be in the 19 and 20, this area. So the solar eclipse is going to happen in her first house. So for all of you who had the eclipse happening in the 6th house or I turned my phone off. I do not understand it. I'm so sorry. Let me shut it completely off. So if you had the eclipse happening in the 12th house and the 6th house, if the lunar eclipse was there for many of you, it was having to do with responsibility in the 6th house here, responsibility, job, anxiety. You're working really hard. You're really worried. You have a lot of stress in terms of responsibility, and you're feeling very vulnerable and maybe overwhelmed. Now, this lady, Denise, as we've seen, oopsie, let me get back to how I can zoom out. Let me erase the marks I made. I'm sorry. There we go. They're gone. And now we're going to zoom out so we can see how you would read her natal chart. You would say, Aries on the ascendant. Where's her Mars? Mars is way up at the top in her house of career. This means she's a real go-getter. Deborah was talking to me last week about helping HR people find good candidates for workers. This lady has so much energy in her job. She could be the most dedicated hard worker with unlimited energy, and it's in the sign of Capricorn. We're just talking about that, Saturn. She's got discipline. She's got orderliness, she's organized, and unlimited energy, a perfect candidate for worker. If you're looking for someone to run your office manager, there's your person. But she really takes her responsibilities so much personally that it can create anxiety in her body. Let's say like ulcers and worry and anxiety, and a lot of stress that she keeps hidden in Pisces. These are hidden things that she doesn't let people know that she's really bearing a big burden. So this is the way things look if you are in a 12th house, 6th house axis for the eclipse. Now the next eclipse is not happening in 5 degrees, so it will be happening in her first house, which is a much different place. So she's learned lessons at the past eclipse, come to some decisions about her responsibilities not becoming overwhelming. She needs to take care of her physical body and how she relates to other people in a way that is more healthy for herself. So she needs to bring a little bit of that love and hard work that she's been giving to her job and other people into her physical well-being and her health for this coming solar eclipse to really get grounded. So everybody needs to see about the Saturn and Mars position. It's in Pisces in the eclipse. So see where it's happening in your chart. This is why I thought Denise is such a good example, because look at her Saturn, where she was born, Saturn in Pisces. This is what's called a Saturn return. It happens every 28 years, and it's a humdinger. Whenever it happens, you are always in a state of very deep crisis in your life, an existential crisis. So she's having that wonderful eclipse with Saturn and Mars right there on top of her natal Saturn. So for some of you, there it is in her chart. This is her natal chart. She has Saturn in Pisces. It's going to be there after 28 years. It makes it a second return. And now she's living through that a second time. And it's very profound. So this is a lifetime decision that she's making. And for all of you who have had Saturn returns when you're 28, is your first one. And there was the famous 28 club of all the rock stars that went through crisis, and we no longer have them, so we know what that is. It's a very difficult time. So this is requiring a lot of so Denise needs to be careful, take care of yourself, and it's a very deep thing in her horoscope. Now, the other thing we want to talk about is the Jupiter and Uranus conjunction. Let's look at our chart again. Jupiter is the ruler of Sagittarius. I have turned my phone all the way off. I do not know what.
Okay. I told you there were ghosts.
I don't know. There are ghosts. I turned it all the way off.
Yeah, it was a ghost there. I had it right here in my ghost box. It came alive. I know it's over there. I'll remove it.
I'm so sorry. I can't believe that. Anyway, Jupiter is the planet of expansion. Let me just talk to you in person for a minute. Jupiter is the most glorious, happy planet that exists because it's expansion. It's growth in a really positive way. It's good luck. And it's a planet, if you could pick one planet for goodness and happiness, it's the planet of faith, optimism. So it's the opposite of Saturn, which is constricting. Jupiter is expanding. So it's the planet of expansion. It rules Sagittarius. So the principle is also of direction, wisdom, and growth in a really positive way. It's going to be conjunct with Uranus. Uranus is the ruler of Aquarius. We've talked about it, and Uranus is a planet of revolutionary change, revolution, sudden change. So it is expansive like Jupiter is, but you put two of those together, and maybe it's like too much of a good thing because it's unexpected change with like a little detonator of dynamite attached to it. So it's sudden change in a big way. So this Jupiter-Uranus conjunction is happening in the eclipse. Here's back to our eclipse chart. I made it in purple so you can see that Uranus and Jupiter are both in Taurus. Jupiter's 19 degrees, Uranus is 21. So they're very close together at the moment of the eclipse. If you have anything 20 degrees area for this part, or near 15 degrees, so between 15 and 20 degrees in your horoscope, it's like gonna set off that area of your chart, because this is big time change, irresistible change. So I wanted to show Cynthia, and I have your chart ready here, and I have not been able to get it to move over. Cynthia, I'm going to bring your chart up after I have to do it after let Debra talk for a minute, and I have to pull it up because I can't
Let's
show
talk about ghosts.
it's not moving. So let me get it set up and I'll pull it over. But so that other influence in the eclipse.
Uh-oh.
Are you okay? There.
Sorry about that.
So we have a big dynamic change. And these are very powerful energies. The Jupiter and Uranus combination will happen once every 14 years. But to have it together with Mars and Saturn and the total solar eclipse, with Pluto just entering Aquarius and everything else, you see all of the planets are in one sector, all of it. They're all between the purple and the orange thing. They're all squished together in one area. Everything is really intensely magnified on steroids. And so it's a very powerful time. So give some thought to these things in your life. That those two areas, Pisces and Taurus, the water and earth signs, are where those big conjunctions are occurring. And we'll talk about them some more in the future. And I want to show Cynthia's chart, how Jupiter and Uranus goes. We'll do that in a second. And then I wanted to mention that after this eclipse, so you have something to look forward to. Something to look forward to is this beautiful grand trine we're going to have in earth signs. It's going to be exactly about 2 weeks after the eclipse, so we'll have time to go into that, and it's a beautiful time for manifestation. So the calm after this, it'll be a more calm after the storm, and you can take a big sigh of relief and then bring some things into your life that you are desiring. And we're going to talk in the future about some techniques for manifestation. So were there any questions about what I was saying? Anybody want to ask a question? How are we doing? Okay. All right. I'll turn it over then to Debra, and we're going to show Cynthia's chart after Debra talks.
Okay. So now I'll remove you. Hi, everyone. It's just me. So I do want to thank, I prepared a banner for, I've got a ghosts. It's just going like nuts. This thing's was going nuts. I promise. I'll just have it over here. But I want to thank Sharon and Karina Grace for being a member. I really appreciate this so much. I just started memberships. There's 3 tiers. And this was the thank you level, and I really appreciate that. I just love my community that I'm coming into. It's just great. So if either one of you, I know you're here, has a question for Lalit, please put it in the chat because I would like to highlight your questions. Let me find you. And also Karina was having a hard time listening. Hi, Karina. She was having a hard time listening to Lalit and the chat. And I was part of that problem because I kept throwing messages out. So I'll calm down when the teacher is in the room. So if you have Karina or Serena, if you have a new member, oh my gosh, Annie, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Annie is a new member. So if either one, any of those three, any member that's here, absolutely. If you have a question for Lalit, you will be highlighted. Absolutely. Thank you so much, Annie. Oh, beside myself. So here is Lalit again. I think she's ready. Is this?
Yes, I am ready. Cynthia, this is Cynthia's chart, and she is born. If you look in her 12th house over in the corner, I'll make a little line right here. She's got Jupiter and Uranus in conjunction with 1 degree apart, just like it's going to be at the eclipse, 24 degrees. So that's right there. And it's in the sign of Cancer. Cancer is one of the water signs. It's a very sensitive sign of an intuitive person. And she's got this in the 12th house, which we've been talking about because a lot of people here in this group have 12th house sensitivity. They show that they are an empath or a medium intuitive person. And this is the indication of that effect. That is, Cynthia, unless you're heading for jail. Are you heading for jail, Cynthia? No, I don't think so. So we were talking about
if you were, we would bail you out.
We're going to bail you out. We'll set the bond.
We're a family here.
Bond for you. We'll get you the bond. Anyway, it is, all kidding aside, and it shows love of family and children. Great. This is the mother I had always wished that I had. I was an adopted Cynthia. Cynthia, would you be my mommy? You look like a really perfect mother here, and very unusual and open-minded and wonderful, wonderful heart. Now, this conjunction that you had at birth is happening at the eclipse, and I have just happened to have got it here so that we can see where it's happening in the eclipse, because the eclipse is the outer ring. So let's highlight now. This is her 12th house natal position that we just showed. We zoomed out to show where the eclipse is happening. Here's Jupiter and Uranus at the midheaven. So this is in a very good aspect because it's Taurus, an earth sign, going to your Cancer. So this is a positive, fortunate aspect showing good vibrations, good music, good vibrations going from the eclipse Jupiter Uranus to your own natal position. It's a sextile showing harmonious energy, and you're able to build upon this in some way that is going to increase your visibility or your image. You have some kind of a group of people that you work with, or some way you're other than us, or maybe through us or through this community. It's some kind of way you're going to be able to bring your talents out. And I don't know what job you do, but somehow your intuitive capabilities are going to give you some assistance and lead you to some new direction, and you have openings for you. There are openings for you to do things brand new that you never thought you could do, quite surprising, with some very interesting results. So Cynthia, I have no idea what you do in life, but if you were, for example, studying Reiki healing or something like that, you could be on a Facebook group or something where you're exchanging these talents, and you have some real ability to expand that.
Mm. What we have here, I'm gonna interrupt you, I think, because I like that. Sorry, Lalit. But Cynthia said she's a retired paralegal, but I know she's an 11 life path just like you and just like me. And so I do believe she is. I'm reading the chat. I do believe she's studying metaphysics and the psychic sciences. So this is the time, right, for her to do that?
Yes, absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely. And there is some way that she can make an impact in her community with other people. I don't know what that is, but if she's been doing paralegal things, there might be even, I don't know what that would be, but maybe through some volunteering or something, she might be able to even get that moving in some way, because I think she could really be helping people.
She's working
Some
with special needs kids, it looks like.
special needs kids. There you go.
Mhm.
That's exactly. It's something quite unique
Yeah.
and unusual that she could do that. That really only she has these particular gifts that she can bring to the world and influence other people in a big way.
Oh, that's wonderful. She said, "Thank you." She says, "You are her teacher." I guess I'm a teacher too, but we're shining the light on you, girl head. I said, girl head, girlfriend. I call my dogs dog heads, bird head. Anyway, I do have. Is this a good time to ask a couple of questions of you, Lalit, or are you in the middle of something?
I'm not in. Well, no. If I can answer it, I will.
Okay, because I have a few new members.
Okay.
One just joined tonight, and she does have a question. Will I have the money to move in September? She
Is
said
this a person whose
12/26.
chart? Is this a person whose chart I've done?
Annie, have you requested a chart from Lalit? I'm gonna go down here and find
I'm
out.
keeping everybody's chart in a special place so I can open it instantly for our, if you have a question of that sort. If I haven't done your chart, I can use other methods to answer that question. But I think Deborah, with her clarity, that could do that one fast.
Yeah,
And
I could do that. So you were born 12/26. So I'm gonna do your year, your year here.
if she could, does she have time and place of birth
Do
and
you
year?
have the time, place
If you don't want
of
to tell it
birth?
online, then she could email it to me and
Yeah.
I could talk about it next week.
So this is a one personal year for you, Annie, and that means everything new. So if it's like a buffet of things. So if you want to move, it's the wind will be at your back for that. But make sure you don't get into the idea that you have to have a certain thing a certain way that you've always had it before, because you ended a 9-year cycle last year. You gave up stuff thinking about things the same way last year. So think like a novice heart, independent. So also, I just take a look at this. I have a banner I want to bring up. I've just got it right here. Okay. Oh wait, sorry. This is the one. So I know Lalit has put an end to the to the free charts and stuff, but if she could do, yeah. Oh,
One in the end, a hiatus for a week.
oh,
Hiatus for a week. Now, if Annie wants to be an exception to be on the show for next week, I could answer this one question, and I'll be happy to do her chart and send her stuff. And then next week, I'm starting a new round of sending out charts for the next eclipse. Because
awesome.
everyone's going to get their chart of the solar eclipse and
You are
transits for
so
April.
you are
But
so
Annie,
generous.
I want to tell you something. We're going to have this moment after the eclipse. It's going to be a big one. A couple of weeks after, there's going to be a time for manifesting. And I was talking to Debra about this, and I'd like to share it with the group. Some techniques of manifestation that really work. And after we're done with this eclipse, it's so intense and so important that we talk about the eclipse. But right after that, we're going to have a whole session where I speak about these techniques of manifestation. And this will be for the big trine. We're going to have a grand trine in Earth signs 2 weeks after the eclipse. So right after the eclipse is over, we're going to talk about manifestation, and you'll be able to work on this. And if you have a focus on being able to move to the new house, remember that the house is the focus. So you said, will I have the money? Well, the real thing there you're interested in is the house. And the house might come through unusual ways. It might come through a trade or a new job or something that you've not even imagined it could come to you in some way. Someone may be going to Europe and need a house sitter or something, and they give you a house for a year. I mean, I don't know that was just a stupid thing that came into my brain, but you can't limit yourself to saying, will I have the money? You're going to work on this house. And then the universe brings it to you in ways that you can't even imagine. So we're going to talk about that after the eclipse is over. How did these little techniques that I've been working on since the 70s that actually are amazing, and it's not hard. We'll do that right after the eclipse. And if you send me on an email your date, time, place of birth, I will look at your money situation for. So ask me the question, and we can address that in class next time. Is that okay?
That's great. Now, Annie did give me her full birth date, and I would like to address something. So when you have a, so you are a 27, I have a lot of feedback. Am I the only one that hears it? Maybe. I'll turn down my volume. So you are 27/9 life path, which makes a one personal year a little challenging, because what life is asking you to do is to look at life in every way with fresh eyes. But being a 9 life path, you're the keeper of the legacy. You may even still have some china you want to pass down, the legacy of you. And what last year might have been a tough year because you were asked to let go of a lot of that. So when I said before, the main thing when you go out to live in a new place or find a new place, don't look for a place with the idea of what you used to have, just like what Lalit said. And I have friends, and more than one friend that is living in like a mansion for a year, and it's turned into like 3 years in this same mansion. So, so you can think about that. It really is a magical year for you. So I hope you feel it soon.
So don't limit yourself. Don't don't put a box around it. The universe can bring you things in magical ways that you never imagined. So don't limit it and determine that it should come in X, Y, Z, follow this little path. Maybe not. There could be other mysterious ways for you to I'll get this.
So, Lalit, you just did Denise's chart. Everyone saw it. She says,
Hi, Denise.
since I'm beginning my astrology studies from scratch, is there a book you can recommend to teach me to understand the charts you are so generous to provide?
My one most favorite book is out of print. So let me think about that, Denise, and because maybe I can have a little conversation with you to see how much in depth you want to go, because there are ways you can look at it through studying keywords, just the essential things, or then there are ways you can do it looking at the esoteric spiritual side. That's very a philosophical discussion. So depending on how you want to address this, you think about that, and we'll talk on the phone about it. And I'll show you. I have about 100 books, and
She is a reader too. I'm an audio person or video person. So here's my other member. Thank you, Sharon. What effect will the solar eclipse have on me if she was born September 3rd, 48?
You really need to see where your ascendant is. Do you know your time of birth, Sharon? And if anybody who wants to do this, you can send me the email, and I will do this eclipsing next week, because I need a week off. So I will answer that question in a week. Okay, except for
That's good. That's
Denise to answer her thing. I mean, Annie's going to have a thing about her house. Anybody else who wants their chart done, I'll do your whole chart and give you a little interpretation and transits and the solar eclipse positions for you. But I'm going to do it after next week's class. We still have a little bit of time. It's coming up. So I'll give it to you like next week.
Awesome. So I did do your numbers.
Maybe I can do it in time for class next week. Like send them out by Thursday night or something like that. So you'll have it for Friday. I'll try for Thursday night. If I don't get too many, all right, and we can do a limited amount, because there's so many hours in the day. So if you send me I'll do them as they come in. And as long as I don't get 100 requests, I've had that happen. One week I got like 500, and I'm just like, oh, it made me sick. So I can't do that. But there aren't that many of you here today. If you send it to me to my email, Astrology Vibrations, I don't have my little sign handy.
I've got the banner, and Sharon Sipe she's the monitor. She's been putting your email address in the chat.
Sharon, hi.
Sharon Sipe is a monitor that's so generous. She comes in.
Sharon is everywhere.
She is. And Sharon, Sharon Sipe, I want to give you a
Mars and Saturn worker that we were just talking about. So much energy and all organized.
Please, Sharon Sipe, go to my website or wherever. Oh, well, you have my email address. Just email me. I want to set up a time to spend with you, to give back to you. So, Sharon, I do have.
And Sharon, send me your information. I'll send you all that stuff.
I do have her numbers ready, and you are a 34/7, which makes you very, very intuitive, very, very smart. Denise W is the same. She's a 7. And it's amazing how you process information. I also wanted to tell you what year you're in. Forgot to do that. You're in a 2 personal year, which is about collaborations. So this emailing Lalit to collaborate with her to get your chart straightened out. And what Lalit is going to be doing is she'll have a folder just for us, this show. So if you're rambling around in here and you have a question, you can say, Lalit, what do they say? they say their name, I guess. You just say your name, and then she'll look up the chart as we're talking, and
Yeah, I
then
can do
give you
that.
some information. Here is, I'm going to remove myself. She's going to talk.
Well, like I just did that for Cynthia. Here's Cynthia's. I just called it up from our database, and this is her eclipse chart of the eclipse that we just eclipse that we just had, and it shows the slow planets on the outside and her chart on the inside, so we can see how the chart is affecting her. And so I will have these ready so that we can call it up. I think this
Isn't
is
that great?
Karina. She wasn't here last time. And so the yellow on the inside is her natal chart. The outside is the eclipse. So if you ask me a question about money, let's say you want to know about money, for example, we look at the money house, the second house, and see what's going on there. And that's how we answer a question of that type. So
You're a genius. You are a genius.
The word is astrologer. The genius.
Well, you know what they say. I think it was Henry Ford might have said this, or someone, a banker of some sort. They says millionaires seek out the guidance from psychics. Billionaires seek out the guidance from astrologers. So there you have it. You win. You win.
The thing about astrology is that it's always moving in time. So it's constantly evolving. Your chart is not static. It evolves both. We have symbolic directions and the transits. Everything is in a state of moving, as it always is, because we're in a constant state of change. And you can look at the houses of your life to see where those changes are occurring and the cycles that you're in. And it's an infinite study. And it's so fascinating because of that.
Yeah, it's oh gosh, I've got terrible feedback tonight.
I can't hear any feedback.
How about in the chat? Can you tell me if you hear feedback over my mic, or is it just me being sensitive?
I think you're hearing it, but it's not being broadcast.
Oh, I hope not. So Cat Mama said that she tried to become a member, and she guesses that she cannot do that on your phone. That's interesting. I don't, membership's kind of new to me as well, but I will research that. And
I think it might be. I think there's something about iPhones that's different as opposed to Android. I'm not sure about that though. You have an iPhone?
Okay, I've got 3 no feedbacks. So I will Cynthia, you cracking me up. Yes, it must be my ghost. That's what it is.
She's in the cave where the feedback is occurring, but it's nowhere else.
So Annie said she did join. She did join on her phone. So
there you go.
So I've heard that before. Oh, look! See, every time it starts going, every time a ghost comes in. Oh, there we are. It's coming in. Occasional feedback. Thank you, Karen. Appreciate that. I had a ghost. I've been having them visit here a little bit, but and I would have I'd be sleeping, and there would be a cold blast on my face, and I'd say, "Get the hell out of here!" So I am not going to deal with you tonight. Says, okay. She is on an iPhone, she says.
Okay, I think it's different.
Karina says, Denise, where are you? She's in Oceanside, California. Looks like Karina is Australia.
Karina's in
We're
Australia.
international once again. I love that. So try having my dreams this morning. This man pushed me in my arm and it was so real. My arm hurt it in the morning. You know, I just had a really cool dream myself. Had to do with aliens. I really enjoyed it. But that can happen. I wonder what that is all about. So Cat Mama says, what phone, Annie? Did you just tell me what phone? You just did it on your phone and it wasn't an iPhone, Annie? So I think Denise says, wow, I've always wanted to go to Australia. So you need to get together with her so you can visit. So Karina and Denise, you get together and exchange visits. Oceanside, California, which is in San Diego, and you can go to Australia and pet a kangaroo. So yeah. Oh, good. Somebody's interested. All right. Since Cynthia asked, and we have a few minutes, I'm going to tell you, I was in a casino that had no machines. I don't know why, but it's crowded like that and carpeted and I don't know, chairs all around. I have no idea. And I was waiting for my brothers to come back. And then I was dragging my stuff around and my stuff kept getting heavier and heavier and heavier. So I finally just sat down. It was like airport seating with the chairs hooked together. And I was just watching people. And then my son, so I'm a gazillion years old, but my son, who I don't have a son, came running in. He was about 9, blonde hair, skinny with freckles. And he leans up and says, hi, Mom, I want to introduce you to your first alien. And it was a little boy, another little boy, and he was all blue. He was so awesome. And we talked for a long while. And then I woke up and I still have him right here. Maybe that's who making mine light up, my little alien friend. So okay, here it is. Thank you, Cynthia. Thank everyone for coming in and listening to our tomfoolery and our astrology and aliens and ghosts. And we couldn't have this cool show without you. You mean the world to us. And every Friday we're here and we're going to get Lalit's channel up and running again. She has one, but we're going to get it up and running so we can kind of toss out and back. But you mean the world to us, and you mean the world to me, Lalit. I really appreciate you as my friend. We just met this last year, and it's like we have been together for a long time. Sorry, Cat Mama just became a member as well. Thank you so much. Oh, I love you so much. I really appreciate it. And we're going to dance off. Do you have anything to share, my love, to Lalit?
Can't wait till next week. This next few weeks is going to be a humdinger. Boy, get your popcorn, like, I mean, it's going to be an amazing thing. Look how things have evolved with the last eclipse. We started talking about it 3 weeks before the eclipse. Things were looking so bad. Everything was going in the Republicans' favor. And Debra was so upset. And I said, don't worry, after March 25th, the whole energy is going to be different. And look how we've gone on the offensive and things are starting to really enter the Aquarian age of universality, of brotherhood, of, you know, medical care for people who need it, this kind of thing. We're moving in that direction of the Aquarian age. So don't worry. It's an energy that cannot be stopped. It's not, the Republicans have been that try to obstruct things, but they can't stop this movement. It's an energy that is universal, and they are not able to begin in the way. They have their little finger in the dike for a while, but it's going to just come out. The flow is going to be impossible to stop. And so don't worry about it. Have faith. It is happening. There's nothing that can get in the way of this. But we do need to have everybody's light. So just focus on that and don't get too hung up in watching too much news that's negative. Don't do that. Keep your light going. You have that heartbeat that's going out to the universe. Get some love in there, some gratitude, and send it out. The more you do of that, the sooner the good things will happen.
I love that. Well, this last eclipse did the world of wonders, healed me. It completely healed me. I have a new attitude. I have been manifesting really fast. Oh my God, it's been wonderful. So I'm looking forward to the next one. Bring it on. Bring it on.
It's going to be one really big one. This is amazing. I'm really looking forward to it. It's going to be fabulous.
Awesome.
So get your intention set.
Awesome. So, this is great. Thank you so much. I'm going to dance you off. Going to dance you off the stage. Wish everyone. I'm going to be on tomorrow with Linda Berteau. I'm sorry. Linda's laughing right now. But and so we'll see you tomorrow. Thank you. So and next week with Lalit. I love you all. You mean the world to us.